Also, I'm not sure if I respond to you as your worship.
Madam Chair is fine.
Madam Chair? Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair. It is to you and through you that I address this public body elected by the citizens of Sarnia. The act of addressing disrespect is not disrespectful in and of itself. Addressing behavior that was witnessed and broadcasted publicly does not constitute accusation. We all speak with the utmost respect for the majority of our law enforcement officers who risk their personal safety every day on our behalf. Recent tragedies have only served to reinforce the nature of their jobs and the danger they face on our behalf. This is not questionable. However, as I witnessed at the last meeting on June 27th, a police force that openly laughs, snickers, and rolls their eyes in disrespect to the chair, the council process, and victims of workplace violence cannot be tolerated. For members of our police force to behave publicly in such a manner when the topic is workplace harassment is highly inappropriate, brings the administration of justice into disrepute, and discredits the officers that exhibit policing integrity. I will not name individual officers here as I do not wish this meeting to be swept away on camera. This is a public issue that needs to be dealt with in a public forum. Therefore, the following statements and request for motion does not pertain to or allude to labor relations. As I mentioned before, I am able to provide specific names in camera to verify my concerns, if it pleases an electorate concerned with unbiased civilian policing. Furthermore, there are many witnesses to confirm my statements as well as footage released through the public media. In a democracy, the police are expressly forbidden to be an extension of a political office, but they reasonably appear to be politically motivated as a collective unit at the June 27th meeting. This is the concern that I am addressing today, even though I fear I may put my safety and liberty at risk by doing so. Many members of the Sarnia Police arrived at the meeting together, they sat together, they laughed at the word abusive together, and then they finally left together when it was clear that they would not get their political way. These members appeared to move as a coordinated unit before, during, and after the proceedings. This public perception is exceptionally dangerous to the concept of separation of police and political power in a democracy, especially when the Sarnia Police Association has previously publicly supported the very politician whose actions were being examined at the June 27th meeting. Madam Chair, while it is not even debatable that every person has the right to participate in our democratic process, the perception of police political coordination was reasonable to the casual observer. The concept of political separation in democracy is so elementary that we shouldn't even have to be subjected to personal risk to address it here today. It has been addressed in our community before, specifically at the Iverwash Public Inquiry. To witness such behavior from a government body responsible for promoting and maintaining peace is disturbing and unacceptable. We all have a role to play in addressing such issues, especially police, regardless of their individual politics and motivation. While we make zero efforts to address labor negotiations with employee groups, that being strict jurisdiction of the city's administration as per bylaw 37, it is permissible and important to point out that policing is a very large chunk of our tax revenue and paid for by the public. The problem is that only 2 of 9 elected representatives chairs the Sarnia Police Service Board, overseeing the money and the politics of its administration. The chair of the council has the de facto right in law to represent the electorate on the Police Services Board. This is not in dispute. But to limit other electorate to simple votes, which must rely on filtered information for perhaps the largest part of our city's budget, does not sound like fair representation of our taxation. We would be remiss of reality if we didn't acknowledge that some voters may have voted for the chair of council, but did not intend for one politician to work so closely with the police for so long. While acknowledging the right of the chair to sit on the Police Service Board, we would be lacking due diligence if we did not acknowledge that this problem is happening in other communities. I will quote a Toronto Star article dated January 29, 2016. Quote, critics have said that the Peel Police Service Board, after 18 years of leadership, by former regional chair Emile Clough had allowed the police force to operate with little accountability or oversight, unquote. It is clear that taxpayers and media in other jurisdictions can recognize that having one politician chairing the police service board for so long is simply not in the public's interest. The difference is, Peel Region has a pool of mayors to draw from for their board, whereas the city of Sarnia does not get a chance at refreshing our representative chair with police, the one city department with the ability to take away our democratic freedoms. Some of us, despite supporting the politician, may not want one person to represent our relationship with the police at 18 years at a time, as in this example, but we have no choice in Sarnia. In addition, Madam Chair, it is our understanding that Hughes Intelligence, a private security company, has offered to conduct a pro bono, unbiased, complete investigation of the public issues at City Hall. I would like to remind Council, through you, that they are the elected public authority, not a private company accountable to no one. And the people encourage this collective body to firmly disregard such an irrelevant offer. If Hughes Intelligence is owned by or even employs one ex-Sarnia police member, there is yet another perception of conflict of interest with the police, and it begs further questions about political motivations. My concern being valid and publicly heard, I ask for a council member to adopt them and put forward a motion. The mayor, as CEO of the City of Sarnia, as head of council, and as the electorate's representative member of the Police Service Board, restore the public's trust and confidence by reinforcing publicly that the police must be politically neutral in a functioning democracy, and verbally confirm that public discussions about violence and harassment in the workplace are serious subjects and not simply to be dismissed by police. I further request a separate motion be put that council as whole, with assistance of staff where appropriate, investigate the legislation and bylaws pertaining to the operation of the Sarnia Police Service Board, actively lobby the legislative body responsible for those statutes, and make them aware a de facto chair could have in a small community. Grant relief where possible, or request relief from another legislative body via amendments of appropriate law to give local representatives more choice in how it exerts control over its police. Finally, I would like to reaffirm that this is a serious concern about the function of our democracy, and I have put forward these motions to encourage conversation and restore trust. We bring these matters to council in faith that someone will adopt these motions and have them put to a recorded vote to restore public trust in independent policing. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Speaker. Oftentimes it does take some courage for speakers to come and talk to council. You did a great job. Thank you. So, councillors, you have some questions, starting with Councillor Busewitz.
Ms. Mel, thank you for your courage. What you reported here, I've heard from other people who were in the audience. Yes. I think that was a very shameful behavior. And I really feel, in this very serious issue, that there should be more respect for women in the workplace. And what we've had there, that was witnessed by other people who were in the audience, that's totally unacceptable. And I feel this is the ugliest moment in my political life here. Absolutely no reason to show such a disrespect to our women in the workplace.
Any other comments or questions from council? Okay, thank you once again. So at this time I have to ask